Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, Tio.
Talk to me.
Um, so just full disclosure, we've been recording these off-season grades episodes of Field of 68, right? And you and I were on the Texas episode, and we got completely sidetracked for about 6 minutes of a 15-minute show where we were
Yep.
talking about whether or not Sean Miller should go back to jumbo lineups. And
Yeah.
I spent some time thinking about it afterwards, and there are a lot of teams that are going to be in the mix for power conference championships and in the mix for national championships that are using these quote unquote jumbo lineups, right? Florida's the best example. They're going to start with Thomas Hawk at the three, Alex Condon at the four, and Ruben Chiniello at the five, right?
Yeah.
Houston is probably going to play JoJo Tuggle and Chris Senac as their starting 1-2, which is similar to what they've done the last however many years Kelvin's been there, right? Purdue is going to be playing Trey Kaufman-Renn and one of Oscar Clough or Daniel Jacobson, which is about as big as you can get. Michigan, there's a real chance that we look up and Michigan's starting front court is Yaxel Lindenberg at the three, Morris Johnson at the four, and Adai Mara at the five. Illinois is going to be big. Washington is going to be big. Tennessee could play Cade Phillips and Felix Oxpara with Nate Amen at the five. UVA is going to be big this year. UNC could end up having a too big front court. Clemson, Nick Davidson and your boy, who is
Carter
it?
Welling.
Yeah, yeah.
Carter Welling, RJ Godfrey.
Yep. So they could end up being really big. Kentucky could give you lineups where you have Jaden Quaintance at the four. Like there's the jumbo lineup is back in college basketball. It's the new trend. Miami. Yeah.
Shelton Henderson, Ernest Uday Jr., and Malik Renaud.
So
Like
here, my question to you is
huge.
is why are we seeing this happen? And I don't think it's just because big men are staying in college basketball longer, because I think this year, if you look at it, like the last two seasons, the big man market has been the one where you get the least amount of value for the dollar that you spend in NIL money. So
I would argue because it's always worked.
Yeah.
It's always worked.
A lot,
like being
explain
bigger,
that,
faster, and stronger never hurts. It's always worked.
Fair.
Like you look at some of these, like I'm not just going to say power conference, but like the powers that be, the UConns, whenever they won back-to-back national championships. You want to talk about overwhelming with the Adama Sanogo, Donovan Clingan coming off the bench, Andre Jackson playing your three, Samson Johnson not even seeing the floor. Like they were huge. Then you look at Purdue, Zach Edey, but they had other big guys around there too that did a nice job rebounding. And then you look at what Duke has been over the last X amount of years. They've been massive. Look at what Sean Miller did at Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Them dudes was big now.
That's the team that we were talking about. So listen to this roster, Fanta. When it was the 2015 season, right? The year that Kentucky tried to go undefeated. Wisconsin had Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker.
Huge.
Duke won the national title, right?
They were huge.
This was their starting lineup.
They were huge.
TJ McConnell at the point. You know who played the two for him? Stanley Johnson. 6'6", 230 Stanley Johnson.
It works.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson was at the three.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Ashley, 6'9", 230, was at the four. And Caleb Tarzewski, 7 foot, 250-pound mountain of a Pollock, was there at the five. It's as big of a lineup as I think you'll ever see in college basketball.
But it works, and it resulted in Florida winning a national championship as well, because as much as their perimeter played a part in getting them to a Final Four, let's face it, those Final Four games, yeah, there was some shot making late, but if you look at some of Florida's biggest shots, they came from the elbow, not the perimeter, and they also came off offensive rebounding. You know, the teams that dominate the glass, I guarantee if you look, and we could do this, and that's why we do these preseason pods, but if you look at the offensive rebound margins and who is up in the offensive rebounding columns every year, the team that's 1, 2, or 3 is probably one of them is going to make it to a Final Four, if not two of them, because it's such in a sport that, yes, gets criticized for missed shots. Oh, I love the NBA because it's make. Even though if you watch the NBA playoffs, there were a lot more misses this year because people defended and the Pacers got out on you on the perimeter, and so did Oklahoma City. It's actually the teams that cause the biggest problems with their defense that win. But I think in the college game, you see that in the best games sometimes, when teams go in offensive ruts, how do they win the game? They win the game because they just out rebound you. They get it done on the glass. And this is why Dusty May, when I saw him at the NBA draft on the floor of the Barclays Center, I said, how do you feel about your team? Most coaches will say back, I feel okay. I feel good. I think we're He said, I feel great because we're big. I feel great because we're big. And if you look at a team like Michigan, to be able to say that we've got Yaxel Lemberg, who was as big of a return as any because of the draft buzz that kid got. He was going to be a first-round pick. No, he's coming back, and he's going to play college basketball. Mm-hmm. And Morris Johnson, and even Roddy Gale and his size, Mara, his size. That you want to have size because, like Terrence just said, it wins. It wasn't the greatest size, but I even think of a player like Drew Timme. And Drew Timme and Corey Kispert making it all the way to a national.
Chet Holmgren.
And Chet Holmgren. It wins. It's proven it through the years. Yes, we've seen the small ball work at times. But over the course of time in college basketball, when you're talking about 18 to 22-year-olds, sometimes late in recent years, 23 or 24-year-olds, you better have dudes that can win you a game with the ability. When you can say, how many times do we say about a meat grinder game? Well, sometimes the best form of offense is a missed shot.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Big time. And I want to say something too. A lot of, there's so much trickle down effect from the NBA. That always seems to be the thing. And so the biggest takeaway from the NBA, and you hear NBA analysts say this all the time, it's a make or miss game. Okay, fine. That's fine. But the difference with the NBA is those make or miss guys are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". There's just not that many humans that can do that. Mm-hmm. And provided that there's a lot younger people at the college game, a lot of people think, well, we have to shoot this X amount of percentage to keep up. I'm not really sure that's necessarily the case. You probably need to have two of them. Like I keep going back to UConn just because that's recent in my memory. But like I keep going back to like Cam Spencer and Tristan Newton. Those guys shot great percentages. But like the year prior, like Andre Jackson couldn't throw it in the ocean with his feet in the water. Adama Sanogo's not spacing that floor out. Who was the four?
Caravan.
Yeah, well, he could shoot it, but like, you know what I mean? So they would have two or three guys on the floor that could knock down shots, but you need to be big and overwhelming. So a lot of times like, well, I need guys to shoot great percentages. Well, if the guy that's shooting great percentages is 6'2", 6'3", and the guy that's guarding him is 6'6" and strong, it's going to nullify some of that shot making just because of size perspective. Keep in mind, there's beauty in the disaster that's college basketball. I feel like I've said that 1,000 times. Like you got to win in the mess. You got to win in the slop sometimes. And I would say more often than not, you need to win in the slop. And then shot making can be an ancillary bonus. I just wonder, like we were talking specifically about Sean, like he went a lot smaller at Xavier than he had at any prior stop, even his first stop at Xavier. They were much bigger the first time. Like I wonder if there's going to be a point at Texas where it's like, hey, I can get some really big dudes. Maybe I shouldn't worry about shot making as much and just get some guys that I think might be able to make some shots. And we'll just be able to beat them out of you like that, like his old teams used to.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, that is what wins at a high level. Ask Houston. Houston's just built like a house every single damn year. And that's been the constant force. Their physicality, their defense, their ability to just wear you out. T.O. just said it. When they make some shots, say goodnight, sweetheart.
Yeah, hit some at the right time.
And that's what they've done the last couple of years. It's how they've dominated the Big 12. They said to the rest of the Big 12, oh, this is the game you play? Oh, well, we do that too, but better.
Yep.
To me, I think it's just a cyclical thing, and it's all going to come back around.
Big is always one.
But part of the reason why playing that like smaller and faster style became a little bit popular was because you were able to counteract lineups where everybody was big and you started doing something different. And now everyone kind of is trended a little bit more towards playing that smaller, faster style, which means if you can go out and you can get some big old bruisers, and with NIL money around, you can keep some of those guys that are borderline pros, right? keep them around for a little bit longer. The 6'7" switchable guys that can step out and knock down a three, keep some of those guys around college a little bit longer, then it increases the number of big players that are available. And now you can kind of lean into it because there aren't as many people doing it. And you can take advantage of the fact that there's a lot of these smaller lineups out there. So I think it's just,
I also want to throw in the fact that, like, when I say big, I don't necessarily mean just height.
Yes.
Like, and they're fresh on my mind because I looked at Miami yesterday, and I'll do a team a day leading up to the season. But like, I looked at Miami yesterday, and like, they're big. Trey Donaldson, he's listed at 6'3", $195. He's probably heavier than that. It's probably 200, 205.
Should have been a football player, right?
Wasn't he like a football player? He's your point guard. True Washington was going to probably start at the 2. He's 6'4", 6'5", 195, 200 pounds. That's big. Sheldon Henderson is the most physically imposing wing in this freshman class. And then you have Malik Reneau, whatever. Like, he's as physically imposing as you're going to find at the 4 spot, especially in that league. Ernest Uday is, Fanta says stocks all the time, but like, it doesn't necessarily mean tall. I'm also talking about wide shoulders, big hands, long arms, strong. Like, Walter Clayton qualifies as a bigger person for me in college because he was wide across the shoulders. He had longer arms. He's a former football player. So when I say that, I don't necessarily mean like I need a bunch of 7-foot string beans. Like, old T.O. needs some girth. You know what I mean? Old T.O. needs some girth.
I'm going to give you a take right now.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
I know what I said.
That's the real
I know what I said, Fanta.
I'm glad
could I just say
podcast for comments like that. I'm glad I stuck with this podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly.